What's happening, YouTube? It's your homie as Doc coming back to you with another video. Today's video is going to be a deck profile on none other than Lordknightmon, the tier 0/tier 1 deck of the format, tier 0.5, whatever you want to call it. Very much so the strongest deck in the format. Expect to see it at least between 2 and maybe 2+ rounds, at least once. You should definitely play against the Lordknightmon every tournament, especially if you're doing well. You can expect to play more as you gather up into the top tables. This is definitely a deck to beat. Once again, yellow for the BT5 format. Now, before I get into the deck profile, it'll be a rather quick deck profile, but I actually had a deck profile already uploaded and ready to edit to give to you guys today, Monday, when you'll be seeing this video. But this weekend was a roller coaster of stress, and what actually ended up happening was the regional at the Top Cut event. Shout out to Top Cut events for holding their, the tournament. I had a roller coaster of a day. I won round 1, cool. Lost round 2 to a mirror match that played Renamons and things like that. And no matter what they're playing, I was just outpaced. I wasn't able to get my lines as quick as they were. And once you start to kind of really flood the board, and they keep you off the board. Obviously, you're not able to Valder or get your DP minus back on their field. Most of the time, the game is usually over. It's kind of decided a lot of the times. In that mid-game state. But aggression aside, I won round 3, won round 4, then I lost round 5, won round 6, lost round 7. It was something like that. So I ended up going 4-3. It was not 4-3 like I did the last two times. I feel like it was a curse to start 4-0 because something bad was going to happen. That's exactly what happened those 2 times. I went 4-0 to 4-3. So I'm 4-3 again. But what actually ended up making me redo this video for you guys is because what happened today, Monday for you guys when you're seeing it, is now this was actually another roller coaster of an event. So what ended up happening was I played in a True Champ Games event today. Shout out to True Champ Games for hosting the event. I ended up placing second after Swiss. Mind you, they also do not do top cut. They play until there's one undefeated, then it's over. So I started 5-0. And then in the last round there was only one other 5-0. And I think he also did. We both 2-0'd all of our opponents. I know I definitely did. Looking at the standings, it looked like he did too. But I literally went 10-0 for 5 games, feeling really good. Going to this last round, I'm like, Steph, just do it one more time. What happens? I get 2-0'd, of course. Game 1, he just outpaced me. Game 2, the variant said, nah, bro, we're going to give you your Mastemons and not your yellow Digimon, your yellow level 6s, your Lord Knights or your Slash. And wasn't able to push his field back in order to have to play the Valder arms I had in my hand. So the variants just sucked there. I mean, I'm playing 5 yellow megas, excuse me, and then 2 Mastemon. But I ended up drawing the Mastemons a lot earlier and just was not able to press his field back in order to push it to a game 3. So just like that, I got 2-0'd. Then shout out to Limit Break. I was complaining to my Limit Break teammates, crying like a little baby about how looking at the standings. You would think, if there's only 2 undefeateds, the one undefeated should get second place, even if you do lose, right? Well, with the way the standings looked is I still was at 3rd place actually. And if this because this one other player was also X1, and if he won his last round, he'd also be X1 like me, and 4-1. Or 5-1, excuse me. And he ended up winning, and it showed that for him as second, it showed me as 3rd based off the way the tiebreaker showed. And that just felt so anticlimactic to start 5-0, to literally be able to, 2-0 and all your opponents doesn't really matter, but on top of that, you just add the layer, to just avalanche and fall down on me to only get 3rd place. This event was only a first and second place, so it's one of those top heavy prize things like the Omnimon from the Evo Cups. But my annoyance with this game, I will say, is that we don't have a top cut. And just digressing about that for a second, I'm coming from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm coming from Transformers, where we play out a Swiss rounds, and we play Swiss rounds out, and then we cut to a top 8 or a top 4 or whatever, depending on how many people are playing. Then you play out top 4. The reason why I like that is because you have to have a lot of luck in this game. Of course, you have to have a lot of skill, and then your RNG, luck, etc. But sometimes you have that buffer loss. You can't just always expect to go into every tournament go undefeated. But you can always potentially have a match where you potentially misplayed and it cost you the match, or you just drew really bad because variant says so, and you can't just draw great every round unless you sincerely just get lucky all day. So you got to have that 1 round buffer to be able to lose, and then to still come back on the back end and still be able to make the top cut, and then play the top cut and still win the tournament. And that's not how it is in this game. In this game, you have to play till there's 1 undefeated. So Bandai's pretty much saying, hey, we need you to be really lucky today, and just hope today is your day. That's all you can hope for. So I really don't think, shout out to Dan Vang, by the way, for winning the regional, the top cut regional. But I'm so curious to see if, and this is not a diss at all, but I'm so curious to see if Dan Bang wins again, because if he wins something again and sooner than later, then everything I'm saying is just debunked, and it just is what it is. But you gotta admit, there's a lot of RNG and luck in this game, and to lose any of your rounds, if there's 8 rounds and if you are 3-0 and then you lose, all of a sudden you can't get first or second now. So you can forget about the Omnimon, you can forget about the playmat, like in the True Champ Games event. You can forget about all that. And that's just really rough on the mental. So ultimately, I'm going to have to stop bitching about it and just get over it and just realize that's what kind of atmosphere they're in, that's what type of time they're on, and it is what it is. So round 1, I ended up playing against Security Control. Round 2, I played against Yellow-Green Rookie Rush. Round 3, I played against the Mirror Match. Round 4, I played against a Rafflesia Nidhogg deck. And round 5, I played against another Mirror. He was playing War Gray Yellow. I did get lucky on a check. He went to swing with War Gray, and the first card on top was a Lord Knight. So, you know, got him there. So that was a blessing, because that is kind of, you know how it goes. You lose your best guy, especially when he's the only one in the field. Turns the whole game on his head. And then round 6, of course, I played against Zach, the guy that won. Shout out to him. It was another Lord Knight Mirror match. So, yeah, without further ado, all that babbling out the way, let's jump right into the deck profile. First up, we're going to start with the babies. Of course, the babies are very simple. We have 4 Pikmon and then 1 Koromon. This Koromon is honestly a big flex spot. It did come up one time to kill a Starmon, but that was the game I lost anyway, all the way in round 6. It comes up most of the time, I guess, like that 1,000 actually matters when you want to potentially hit a certain threshold to get rid of your opponent's Digimon. I guess you could technically say this was always the case with last format with Yellow or Gray. Being able to, you know, use this effect and then also use your Knightmon and the War Growl to make 9,000 might make all the difference. It depends, you know, depending on the situation. But ultimately, we want to play Pikmon. With Pikmon, you're able to, well, not with Pikmon, excuse me, but this deck is able to swarm the field, so it's very easy to use the Pikmon to get minus 1,000 on one of your opponent's Digimon. And definitely gonna have to play 4 of it. Shout out to the pre-release stamps, pretty cool. I fixed that in a little bit. Next up, starting with our rookies, we have 14 rookies. We have 4 Starmon. Of course, not a ton to say about this except for probably one of the best rookies in the game. Top 5 rookies in the game. Next to, you got Pulsemon and what's the rookie name? Vmon. This card's insane. On play, deal 1,000 damage for each Digimon you have in the field to 1 enemy. Keep in mind it has to be 1 enemy, not like Spire Masquerade that can do 3 instances of 3,000 minus DP to each Digimon. But this card is very good. Rightfully so, it only has 1k attack, so be careful just putting this out there in the mirror match, because their Koromons or their Pikmons could just pick it off, pun intended. But very, very solid card. 3 to play, level 3. Can't go without playing. You cannot play this deck without playing 4 of these, based off the way the synergy in this deck works. Go over there. Next up, we have 3 Pulsemon. Now, the main reason why I'm only playing 3 Pulsemon is because I only have 3. So I could go buy a 4th. I probably should go buy a 4th just in the future. Well, not should. If you guys have seen the new evolutions for Pulsemon in the BT5, yeah, probably going to end up needing 4 Pulsemon. So I should probably go ahead and go pick that up and stop playing with it before the price goes up, if it hasn't already gone up already. Just like Lucemon went up because we saw the Lucemon evolution line. All of a sudden, that card went up a little bit. So 3 Pulsemon, 4 is probably a lot better. But instead of the 4th Pulsemon, I ended up playing 1 Kotemon. Kotemon actually helped me fish for Knightmons or even Lord Knights a couple times this tournament. I actually didn't mind him and potentially think about putting the second one in. He is a reptile though, which is interesting. So I guess you could look at his claws and see he's not really a warrior, but he looks like a warrior because he has the kendo stick, whatever. So, but 1 Kotemon pretty much was my my other Pulsemon. They literally have identical stats in terms of 2k attack, 3 cost, and of course a level 3. And this card was still solid all day, even as a 1-of. Probably after the first one, you really don't want to see a second one, but I could see myself at least adding a second one. Next up, we have 2 Patamon. So I only playing 2. I really want to play 3, but I want to play 2 Patamon to still be able to manipulate memory gain, especially when you have War Growlmon and Raising. You can just bring it up. Like if it already is in Raising and you have a TK, you start at 3, you bring your War Growl up, you Digiburst your level 4 and your baby to get rid of a rookie or whatever, and then you gain 1 memory at Pata. Now you have 4. Then you can play Mastemon and not even pass turn. I have to worry about bringing up Pulsemon, yada, yada, yada. This card I think is still solid, but I really only play 2 because I mean, mirror match is going to be the matchup you see the most, and they can easily just, again, pick this off with Pikmon and, you know, with the minus 1k. So only 2, as much as I like to play more. I still don't, I think I'd be fine if I did play a 3rd one. I think this card was really great, ultimately. But we're just playing 2, and 2 is fine. Next up, we have 2 Bushi. Didn't really want to clog with the Bushis. I am playing Blinding Ray in this version of the deck. Spoiler alert. I say that because like there are some decks I saw that don't play Blinding Ray, but don't think you can leave at home without that card just yet. The regression aside, Bushi for game is always a thing. Not a lot more to say about this. He has 5 costs to play, so be careful. I do have a card in here, though, that will allow me to be able to play this without having to use a Blinding Ray, and we'll talk about that when we get towards the end of the deck profile. But this card was definitely an MVP. There were times where I had 2 Digimon on the field. My opponent had 2 security. So like I think it was once was against Security Control and once was against I feel like one of the yellow decks that had Spiral Masquerade. I swung with both of my guys, got rid of their last security, and then just dropped the Bushi again because I was at 5, or even if I was at 3 and had the blind array, you know, that's the magic number to be able to just drop your Bushi again. And 2 was fine. I don't think I needed 3. 1, of course, is too little. 2 was fine, and I could also bring it back with Mastemon, and, you know, depending on what my memory is at, because I can bring this back, and then it's kind of like an Anubis Mine where you literally just attack with it in the same turn. And last but not least, we have a Cutemon and a Loosemon. So the Cutemon was cool, and the Cutemon was cute. I kind of want to add a second one based off of how the format's going, but then again, like, like we expected, purple and yellow are the top 2 decks of the format. We just had Dan Vang win yesterday with the Imperial Digimon again. Well, not again, but excuse me. Shout out to him for winning again. Rather, that's what I meant. This deck will stop a lot of their reducing. You know, their Imperial Digimon can't reduce to the cost by 2. Against purple, they can't play Mega Digimon Fusion because they can't reduce by 6. Against green, they cannot Digiabsorb and reduce the cost by 3 or play HBD. There's a lot of things they can't do. And then I think the reason why I only played 1 is because I have the Mastemon. And so, like, throughout the early game, I can kind of potentially not care about it. Or if I drop it on the field and they get rid of it, I can always reborn it with the Mastemon. So that's why I played 1. I do kind of want to play 2. I do kind of want to see if I can deal without the Patamons. I probably can. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, and then the one Loosemon honestly was great insurance because I don't have any other healing in the deck. As you can see, I'm not playing the 4-cost Salamon, although 4-cost Salamon is something I want to consider again because of security control, and like they have the ultimate flare, the thing that digivolves by 3 and then kills all your 3 costs or less. This would get got by, I mean, that's fine, whatever, against security control, but like my Patamons get got there, so maybe I can go up to the Salamons from these Patamons, and I really need to analyze, and I think I have to just go play an entire tournament without the Patamon and see how much I missed it. Like, am I happy that this was Salamon, or is it cool being Patamon? And speaking of Patamon, I think if you don't have any Loosemons or don't want to play Loosemon, because this is 14 rookies but only 13 real rookies, because, you know, Loosemon cannot digivolve over a egg, you can potentially replace this with the 4-cost Patamon, which also dodges ultimate flare, and just in general, it's a nice on-play effect that you can also digivolve and, you know, into a level 4, continue your line of play. So that is an option. I don't think you'll really miss the Loosemon because, again, you can digivolve over it, and you also got to be careful with this when you're dropping this against like decks that play Sora and Joe, because you kind of just hope this dies because he's just there, and then they're always getting value off Sora and Joe. So there's little things like that. Ultimately, Cutemon was definitely really good, and shout out to red, blue, and yellow finally getting their floodgate of choice. Like, you know, the other colors got their memory blockers. So that's it for the rookies. We got 14 of them, like I said earlier. Next up for the champions, we have 4 Petamon. Petamon was great. Of course, is one of the cards you want to see in your opening hand, as well as, you know, a rookie. Very, very solid card. You have to be careful of Nidhogg and Shoutmon, though, of course, and ultimately, to back those up, I played 3 Terriermon, which was a very good card. Of course, another 1 cost to get into your lines more efficiently. And then I played 3 Unimon. So the 3 Unimon, of course, were definitely very good. It makes it harder for the mirror match to be able to out the 6,000 versus 5,000, because they can easily go Knightmon and a Pickmon and get rid of Pedo, or they can go War Growl and Pickmon or whatever, Koromon, etc. to get rid of it. Unimon, they have to do a little bit extra work to get rid of it, and it's relevant. And then, of course, it dodges the Nidhogg and the Shoutmon. And then last but not least, this does not dodge those things. Shoutmon and Nidhogg is the Gatomon. I think this card is a card I potentially want to play 2 of, so I don't know if I'll cut a Pedo. I might just cut a Pedo and play 2 Gatomon. So it's still a blocker, but it's only a blocker with Mastemon up, yes. But I feel like with the 1, if I did see it, depending on what point in the game I saw it, I don't have any cards that like Destiny Draw. Shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh players that know what I'm talking about, that can get this card out of my hand. I think Dan Devimon is the only card I can think of that would make me discard this card. And depending on how the game goes, I don't know how much work I would have put into trying to get this in the graveyard to reborn it back with Mastemon later. I guess if I have the option throughout the game, I will. One of the best case scenarios is probably use War Growlmon if you have this under it to detach it, or to to Digiburst rather, and to have it engraved that way, then Digivolve into Mastemon. It did come up a few times. I did have it out. It helped against a mirror match once, and just overall having this out with Mastemon is just a very solid card. Be careful if you are playing Zwart Defeat, though. Don't Digivolve over your Mastemon for defeat unless you really need to, for efficiency of, you know, the turn, because you know, defeat is not a purple Digimon. Mastemon, of course, is. So ultimately, it was 8 blockers, but only like 7, but 8 if I have the Mastemon out. Still a very solid card, though, overall. That's 11 champions. Next up for the ultimates, we have 4 Lordknightmon. and we have 3 War Growl, and we have 2 Angelomon. So I played Angelomon again today. I played Angelomon the other day with in the Top Cut event. This came up maybe once out of the entire tournament for me to be able to like play 2 guys, and I think it actually helped, but that was only 1 game. I think again I have to assess this deck without the Patamons and like without these, and I want to potentially try the other Angelomon, the healing Angelomon, when you're at 3 or less security, to see how much I missed these. Playing her and getting -2 security checks was nice, and I think I did that once or twice, but I didn't do it often. So maybe all those things are fine. I don't think you really expect to do a lot of these things every game. Knightmon, you expect to play off of a Lordknightmon probably almost every game because you're playing 4 of them. You're able to search it, you know, via obviously TK, and then you have the Kodamon, and just in general. So I don't know. Wargreymon was really good. Potentially want to go 4. I think I want to potentially try 4 and 4, and then one of the healing Angelomon, to be honest with you. I really didn't miss the Angelomon. Yes, I'm still playing Blinding Ray, but ultimately, I don't think I had to have it today, but I don't know. Just got to do some more testing to see. I don't think it's wrong if you like stuck with this the entire format though, so you're fine. It is what it is. But yeah, we got 9 ultimates. Next up, we have, of course, the star of the deck. We have Lordknightmon. So Lordknightmon is insane. It's only a 3 cost. A lot of people say it should be a 4 cost. I kind of agree, because you know what? It's not like yellow doesn't have Blinding Ray to be able to go from 3 to 5, then play this to go to 1, etc. But alas, it's a 3 cost. 11k attack. Of course, keep in mind all turns this guy had, or this chick has 1,000 plus attack for every one of your other Digimon. So if you have 3 other guys on the field, and of course Lordknightmon, she's at 14k. So I had somebody have to swing their Balder into my Lord Knight today. Kind of hurt, but it is what it is. You know, they were able to gain 3 memory, but yeah, that's how much of a threat she is. She doesn't go down to 11 on you know, just your turn. She's also still boosted on your opponent's turn. And then, of course, when you attack with her, the bread and butter of her effects, similar to Angelomon, you're able to play a level 3 yellow Digimon from your hand, or you could play one Digimon with Warrior in its type. So, of course, you're able to play your Knightmon. You can also play Gladymon, which I did not play today. I also want to potentially explore him again. But then again, he also is only 4k. So if I drop him and just leave him out there naked, he easily gets got by an opposing opposing Knightmon or opposing Wargreymon. So that's something to keep in mind. But very strong card. I honestly don't think I need 4. I will be exploring just playing 3. And then I have the 2 Mastemon and 1 Slash. So I'm showing these cards now to go in conjunction with what I just said. I potentially want to try 3 Lord Knight and 2 Slash, because Slash is really good today. In the tournament for the Top Cut event, this Slash was a Wargreymon. Wargreymon was okay, but I think just being able to have that strong on play Knightmon for 4k and the Slash, similar to how last format you just had the War Growl into the Slash for the 12k. Well, now you get to have a body on board that brings out a guy that does more minus 4,000 to then also do the 8,000 here, which is insane. And then if you're playing a whole bunch of Balders, the DP minus is just insane. So we also have Mastemon here too to facilitate just wins and you know, pressure again, not pressure, but yeah, pressure against all opponents, but especially covers the security control matchup, which is still rampant in NA. People love that deck, and I guess everybody loves it, but especially here I see a lot of people still playing that deck, and it doesn't get really good until the structure deck. But that aggression aside, this card is still very strong. Being able to progress your game state by getting rid of one of your opponent's security and just trashing it so they won't get the effect. And then potentially, if you have like a Pulsemon engraved and you start at 3 with the TK, when you bring the Pulsemon back, the Pulsemon you'll go to 1 on your opponent's side. If you're at 3 or less security, when you bring the Pulsemon out, Pulse will gain your memory and put you at 0, and your turn does not pass. So of course, if you also have Angelomon under there, if you have 3 or less security, now you're really in there, because Angelomon you'll be able to attack with this. If you have a Bushi in hand, of course, I'm thinking best case scenarios, but overall, yeah, this has a lot of utility. So a very, very strong card. And we have 7 level 6 megas. Next up for our level 7 megas, we are playing 2 Omnimons worth defeat and 1 Chaos Mon Balder Arm. So shout out to the defeat alternate art. It's my second favorite alt art in the game, next to the yellow War Gray alt art. I love that alt art. But yeah, this card was very solid, and it gave the Mastemon something else to do after because she's just a vanilla after she comes out. But then especially if you have the TK up, or just in general, being able to get rid of one of your opponent's tamers, first card of its kind that's able to do that, it's a very solid card. Then of course on deletion, you're able to get rid of one of your opponent's Digimon. So you don't care about swinging this into security. You don't care if it dies, because you'll get the chip from security. Then you'll also be able to delete one of the Digimon if they have any. Very strong card. I did try to build when I was playing 3 Zwart Defeat, and honestly, I just drew the card so often, which naturally is going to happen. You're playing 3 of it. You're playing it's a card that technically any of these other cards you really want to see. So it's like, it is what it is, and you have to accept the fact you also potentially might just draw a whole bunch of defeats. But I think 2 is a nice number. I'm not playing a lot of recovery, which is another reason why I want to try the other Angelomon over this Angelomon, because it's not obviously a guarantee, but with the variance in the RNG, there's potential where when you're healing, you can heal a defeat from the top of your deck onto your security stack, and then all of a sudden have that card to potentially turn the game around, which is a very strong card. There were a couple times where I've been drawing this card so often in my hand throughout testing where I was just shocked when it was in security finally and it came out, and all of a sudden it's something that your opponent doesn't really account for, and then it helps you progress your game state. I think this lineup is fine. I think I'm honestly going to keep it like this, to be honest with you. The one ball that did come in clutch a couple times when it did, to keep my opponent obviously off their cards. And then next up for the Tamers, we have 3 TK and 1 Mat and Tie. So the 1 Mat and Tie is in here. This is what I was talking about earlier, to where you can play Bushi without having to play a Blinding Ray, because if you have both TK and Mat and Tie up, you are able to start at 5 memory to start a turn no matter what. So even if they put you to 3, you'll gain 2 if they have a level 6 out. Against most matchups, even Yellow Green Rookie Rush, I mean, most of the time throughout the late game, they're not going to have, they might finally have a Puppet Mon. But ultimately, yeah, this card is kind of hard to play around because they need to play their 6s in order to win. So when they do, they kind of just have to just do what they got to do. And then when they give you 5 memory, especially if you also have a Blinding Ray, spoiler alert, the last 2 cards, you can go to 7 memory, and then you just have obviously a lot of plays and a lot of things to do at your disposal. And then of course, the other effect, you were able to gain security attack +1 if you have a Digimon with Omnimon on your side of the field. So of course your Zord defeat will now have security attack +1. I had one chance to actually be able to get security attack. He gave me 10 memory, and I actually just dropped this for 15 and put him the 5, which didn't feel bad at all. And he ended up actually he played his own Zord defeat to kill my Mat and Tie, so he didn't have the looming threat of me getting 2 security checks with the defeat, because I think he digivolved over a Machine Dramon. This was round 1. So that was kind of annoying. I was like, man, the one time I actually get to try to do this, it doesn't end up working out. I think this card can be a Spiral Masquerade, the card I did not play today. I really do think potentially, I kind of do miss this card to be able to potentially deal my opponent's field if I don't have the Digimon to do it. Card I'm still exploring. I didn't miss it today though either, though. I'll tell you that. I did not miss it, but I also potentially want to explore playing it again. I think the 2 Blinding Raids are still pretty important, especially if you're playing Angelomon, to help put your plays online. One thing I was thinking is just to potentially just play these 4, because no matter which one you have, you'll always be able to start at 3 for the most part if games are going like normal. If your opponent's not playing level 6s, then you're probably winning anyway, because they need their 6s to win most of the time. But anyway, yeah, ultimately that was the deck. Of course, 50 cards, and yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. I think I talked about it in the beginning of the video, but what ended up happening was, so I go 5-0, then I lose the last round, and this tournament was for only top 2 gets the mat prizing, and there was a Zord defeat mat and a regular Omnimon mat, and the winner would get their choice, and then the second place gets to they get the remaining mat and then half a box, and then also 1 tournament pack, the one with the expensive Diaboromon. So when I lost, and before all the standings went in, I was at 3rd place, and I was like, I'm so sick. I'm so sick. I literally went 10-0 in games, lost 0-2, and you mean to tell me now I'm getting 3rd place? I was so sick because I wouldn't get the mat, the whole entire reason why I entered this tournament. But I was tripping. I got ahead of myself, bitching to my teammates, and I had one of my other friends message me and said, 2nd place, man, congrats, you're killing it. And I'm like, my heart stopped, because I was like, wait, what? So I went to go look at the standings, and sure enough, I ended up actually getting 1st, or 2nd, my bad. Shout out to Zach, who got 1st place. So didn't win. I would have liked to have a dub under my belt, but we're getting better. I've only been playing the game for a couple of months. I have a very big competitive spirit. Can't expect to just be winning tournaments left and right, just coming into the game. It's okay. I'm gonna slow my ass down, keep learning the game. It's been a couple months, and I'm gonna keep grinding, and that's all part of the beauty of the game, because when you do get that dub, it makes that victory so much sweeter. So if you enjoyed this deck profile, I'd appreciate it if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel if you like my content, and I will have more coming to you soon. And I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great week, and y'all know what it is. Y'all have a great day and or night whenever you're catching this video. This is your homie S. Dot with Lordknightmon and Zord Defeat deck profile heading out. Peace.